Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Today we're chatting with my good friend, Chris Lovelace, who is an expert with numbers and how to run a business. And so today's episode is probably not the most exciting topic in the world that you've ever heard. At least to Chris it is. He loves talking about this. But it's numbers and how they relate to taxes. Well, we're in the middle of February and tax season is approaching. And so if you're an e-commerce seller, you're making some money and you've got to pay taxes, unfortunately. And that's not a subject we like to talk about, but listen to this episode because it'll help you figure out what are the things you need to prepare for tax time. Ideally, you have a bookkeeper and you have an accountant that takes care of this for you. But I know some of you are just getting started. You've not been doing this for very long. And Chris will tell you exactly what to do to get everything in order so you can have your taxes done, even if that means that you're setting aside some time to get this done this year. But get this stuff out of the way quickly so you can focus on the things that are fun in your business, which are most likely finding new inventory. And if this is not your area of expertise, then I would implore you to find somebody that just does this for you and takes care of it so that you can really focus your time and efforts on the things that bring money into your business rather than pulling your hair out doing things that you're not good at. At least for me, taxes is not something that's in my skill set. I'd rather find somebody that does that for me and takes care of it, and I can focus on the things that only I can do. And so that's what I've done. And you'll learn a lot from Chris. If you need help with that, he also offers a free consultation where you can chat with him and figure out what you need to do moving forward. But before we jump into my interview with Chris, just wanted to share something with you that's been on my heart. And it's a scripture in Ephesians 3:20. Now, this is a scripture a lot of you may know by heart. I'm sure you've heard it before, but let me read it and just tell you how I'm applying it to this year in my life and my business. And I love the amplified version, the classical version of the amplified, because it just it amplifies. It amplifies the scriptures. And it says, "Now to him who by in consequence of the action of his power that is at work within us is able to carry out his purpose and do super abundantly, far over and above all that we dare ask or think, infinitely beyond our highest prayers, desires, thoughts, hopes, or dreams." That part there that I love this part that says, he's able to carry out his purpose and do super abundantly, far over and above all that we dare ask or think, infinitely beyond our highest prayers, desires, thoughts, hopes, or dreams. I don't know about you, but I have some big dreams and big goals, but man, I know God is way bigger than any of those. And so my prayer is that I fulfill every single plan and purpose that God has on my life. I know that I am the happiest when I'm doing that, when I'm fulfilling his plans and purposes, when I'm in the middle of his will for my life and not straying from that. But I'm believing for big things this year. And so I am just encouraging you to dare to ask big. It's not going to offend God. It's not going to offend him if you're asking for health for your family, if you're asking for finances to meet your needs and to meet the needs of others around you. He is big. I am now a father. I have almost a 4-year-old son. And so I have a different perspective than I did before. I love to bless Callan. It's so fun, especially we just had Christmas. And it was so fun to see his eyes light up with joy when he's opened up all those toys. Man, if that brings joy to me, imagine how much God loves to bless us with gifts and just to see us happy. I believe he wants to bless us, bless our lives. I believe he wants us to be fulfilled. I believe he wants to use us to bless others around us. And so I believe my business is in a great position to be able to help people. I have been doing this, and I'm believing for the opportunity to reach more people. I want to see more people be able to quit their jobs, to be able to earn money online so that they can do what they need to do. Some of you have some awesome things on your heart. I get emails all the time from people that are like in ministry, and they want to be able to say no to the money in the ministry to be able to have an income on the side that pays for everything that they're doing and basically do the ministry for free. That's on their heart. And to be able to see people do that, that is so awesome. To be able to see people who want to build a business to give more, or heck, even just to pay the bills so that they can have free time with their family. Man, those stories never get tiring for me. When people are like, Ryan, because of what has been taught in your communities, I'm able to spend more time with my family. I was able to quit my job. I was able to give more. I was able to go on vacation. Those are the things that I love to see. And that's why I do what I do. And so I'm believing God for big things this year. And I just encourage you to do the same. What is big? I went to a conference a couple weeks ago, and the speaker said that the Lord told her one time, ask me for something that makes me look like God. Ask me for something that makes me look like God. I guarantee that no matter what you ask, he's bigger, has bigger plans, bigger purposes, bigger ways to bless you than you could ever imagine. And so ask big this year. Who cares if you shoot for the stars and only reach the moon? I mean, go for something big. Believe big, dream big. God wants to bless you this year. Let me know how I can help you. Feel free to email me, ryan@ryanrieger.com. I love hearing your stories. Let me know how I can pray for you and believe big with you this year. Here's my interview with Chris. Jump right in. Chris, welcome back to Streams of Income Radio, man. Appreciate you being on with me.
Thanks, Ryan. Glad to be back.
I see you're in the coffee shop again.
I am. It's my home away from home.
That's right.
My home away from home, in home. Yeah.
So those of you that are listening to the podcast, you don't see him. Well, of course, the podcasts are on YouTube, and you can watch these interviews. But for those of you listening, he has a cool background, and it's either a coffee shop or a kind of a bar out in the middle of West Texas or something. It looks like, right? Or actually, it's a real place, isn't it?
It is a real place. It's actually in College Station, Texas.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, we are talking today with Chris about everybody's favorite topic in business. Not really. Taxes, but it's an important topic, and it's timely because we're in February now. People are thinking about taxes, and if you have an LLC, I think your taxes are due March 15th. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, that's when you want to get that in there.
And so we are, Chris is really busy right now, but he took time out of his day to get this episode out with me so we can get you guys prepared for tax season. So Chris, what's our topic today in regard to taxes?
Well, I just wanted to briefly touch on tax season prep. What do you need to have prepared so that you can do your taxes, or your CPA can do your taxes? So every business should have 3 different items that you look for and review on a periodic basis. Mm-hmm. In the Know Your Numbers course, it talks about why you should review them every month. Mm-hmm. But definitely for tax time, you want to have a profit and loss that shows all your income and all your expenses for the previous year. That's going to be very important because it's going to help your tax preparer understand all the deductions that you could possibly get. Mm-hmm. And if you've been in business for any length of time, deductions is the name of the game, because mm-hmm. you don't want to be taxed on your full amount of income if you have a deduction that can help lower that. Unless
if we have time, we can chat on the other episode. We went over some deductions. So guys, I'll get that. I'll put a link in the show notes to our previous episode that we talked about some of these things, if we don't have time to go through some of the deductions. But I remember in that episode, we did talk about, Chris named off a lot of different things that as a business owner, you can get a deduction for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's also, personal deductions when you're doing taxes, and then there's business expenses that are deductions. So, basically your business can pay for what you want your business to pay for. And then that way you don't have to take a personal deduction for unreimbursed business expenses if the business just flat out pays for it. And I'm talking like electricity, I'm talking internet, phone, that type of thing. So if you have your business pay for that 100%, you know, every business in the world has some sort of shared use policy within the business, and they'll just pay for your phone plan, for example, and then they understand that part of it will be used for personal. So
Nice.
anyway, so run everything you can through your business. Like you need a new desk, don't buy it out of your pocket, have your business buy it. If you need new equipment, a new computer, whatever, have your business buy it. So that's a privilege of business ownership. I don't know how many people listen to Dave Ramsey, but he said on multiple occasions that he doesn't own anything. His business does. So, I mean, he's a really, really smart guy in finance. I learned a lot from him. So
Yeah.
if he does it, it's going to work for you too. So
He said he doesn't own anything. His business owns it.
that's right.
Interesting.
So, I wish I had the episode number so I could give it to you, but that's what he said in one of his episodes.
Bet I could find that.
Yeah. The other one is the next one anyway is your balance sheet. So your balance sheet shows the values of all of your bank accounts and all of your credit cards, the amount of inventory that you have, any business assets would be listed. It also shows how much equity you have in the company, which is a great thing to have. But that measures the overall health of your business, and you want to see your balance sheet getting positive higher and higher every single month. You want to see your business growth, and that's the report that you do that you run to do that. And then the balance sheet is important to have because there's several things on that balance sheet that directly go into your taxes. Like the balance sheet is the place where you record how much inventory you have on hand. So you can actually do a mathematical formula between a balance sheet at the end of one year and the end of the next to determine how much inventory you sold throughout the year. So, and then the last thing you want to have handy is an inventory valuation report. So the inventory valuation report, let's just say you're working in a warehouse like Sam's or BJ's or Costco. Periodically, they're required to do 100% inventory on all the products in their building. And an inventory valuation report for you as an e-commerce seller accomplishes the same thing. You go out and you look in your inventory management system. You walk around your house, you walk around your own warehouse, depending on how big you are, and you add together the value of everything that's still sitting there that the business has bought to sell but hasn't sold yet.
Is that the value, the retail value of what you would be able to sell it for?
No, you're looking at the cost that you paid. That's a good question. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you bought it for $3.99, then you write down $3.99. You don't write down $14.99 that you're planning to sell it at.
Okay.
This is the cost that you paid.
Okay.
So great question.
And a tool like Inventory Lab makes that very easy. And there's other tools out there. I think actually the Legendary Seller tool, they have a tool like it that does the same type of thing. It allows you to have those. And as you're inputting those things into your system, when you buy those things and create your shipments, it can be done automatically. You just pull a report.
The hard part is now so many people are selling on multiple marketplaces.
Yes.
So if you're just using Inventory Lab and say you're selling on 4 marketplaces, your records in Inventory Lab may not be complete. So if you're not using a multi-channel software, then you're going to have a bunch of Excel registers, hopefully at least that, or some other method of keeping track.
Okay.
Inventory Lab does have a unlisted inventory feature for that's pretty new, and a lot of people are going through there and starting to use that to keep track of all the stuff they have on their eBay inventory list, for example.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
But if you're doing something like Walmart or Jet or Newegg or any of those other marketplaces, you're really going to want some software that can kind of tie it all together. Yeah. And there's several options out there.
Okay. What are a couple that come to mind real quick? Because people are going to ask me, hey, what are those?
Yeah. So Sellbrite is one of them. That's kind of like the stepping stone into the multi-channel arena.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's pros and cons with every software
Sure.
system. I'm not going to get into that right now, but
Right. Right. Right.
um, a little more mature one, like a step up from that, would be something like Listing Mirror.
Okay.
Um, that one's really good. Um, and then again, if you're just doing Amazon, but you're selling in multiple marketplaces, again, Inventory Lab would not be a wonderful choice, because Inventory Lab right now only keeps track of US sales.
Oh,
So
okay.
you would want to move into something kind of like Scan Power. That one does multiple marketplaces, and there's several others out there as well. So you can actually find a lot of those if you log into your Seller Central account and go to your apps menu and just look at inventory, and it'll give you a list of a lot of starting software, and you can evaluate all of those if you want, if you have the time. I don't know of anybody that has the time, but if you had the time, you could look at every one of them. So anyway, those are the three things you need. So you need your profit and loss for all of 2020. You need your balance sheet as of December 31st, 2020, and you need your current inventory value as of December 31st, 2020.
How do people get those things? Obviously, if you have a bookkeeper do those for you.
Yep, that would be the best bet, to have a bookkeeper do that for you. Otherwise, in the Know Your Numbers course, we have some templates that is an Excel register if you're just at the beginning stages and you need to use Excel,
Mm-hmm.
and those roll up nicely into the categories on a profit and loss statement.
Yeah.
And then balance sheet is literally just listing out, okay, I have 2,500 in this bank account. I have $1.25 in this bank account. I have a Target credit card with this value. I have a Spark Capital One card with this value, and you can kind of assemble that together. You can just Google balance sheet and profit and loss statements, and you can get the format down, and then it's just up to you to go in and plug in the numbers.
Sure. Okay. How long would that take somebody, like, because I know, Chris, there's people out there that like, last year was my first year of selling, made a little bit of money. That's awesome. But I've never dealt with business taxes before or anything like this. Guys, we'll have a link in the show notes for the Know Your Numbers course. And so you can get that and get these templates that we're talking about. But how long, what kind of, how long would it normally take somebody to pull these things together for their accountant?
It varies depending on the state of your business. So, for instance, if you're selling on one channel, you did $20,000 of sales all of last year, and you only had one account that you used only for business, then you could probably knock that out in 3 or 4 days once you break it all down. But anything short of that, all I can say is it varies depending on the size of your operations and the state of your financial accounts.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
okay.
I did want to go into a little bit about the difference between inventory purchased and cost of goods sold.
Those aren't the same thing.
Those are not the same thing, unfortunately.
I used to think they were. It's so easy
Yeah.
just to think that well, this is what I paid for this. Add these all up, and that's my cost of goods for my that line of taxes.
Yeah, I do have a story. There's a client we were helping. They were doing this for their very first year, and their bookkeeper goes, "Well, how much was your cost of goods sold?" And they're like, "Well, I spent $38,000 in inventory, so there you go." And they're like, "No. How much did you sell?" And they're like, "Well, I have $38,000 worth of purchases. That's my number." And then they're like, no, that's not it. So the cost of goods sold is only what you paid for items that actually sold. So if you spent $38,000 and your cost of goods was $38,000 that you want to report, that means you would have zero inventory left. Like you would have sold everything you bought.
Right.
And we all know that's not realistic.
That doesn't happen usually.
That's right. You always have.
Is that why you go to car dealerships and you see the end of year clearance sale? They're trying to get rid of their inventory.
Yeah, they want to get everything off the lot. They don't want anything staying past the new year for tax reasons, but also to make room for the next set of cars they're going to bring in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely. it's just there's several people that I've helped try to uncover their cost of goods, and
Yeah.
luckily a lot of them use Inventory Lab, but that's
Uh-huh.
not a requirement. What we can also do is pull your sales reports out of Amazon, and they'll tell you every single product that's sold.
Mm.
And all you would have to do is go back and figure out the cost that you paid for every single item throughout the year. And this is, I'm talking worst case scenario that you have no records. This is what you'd want to do.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, um, there are some tricks that I've seen some people use, like in their SKU, their merchant SKUs they come up with.
Uh-huh.
Some of them put the purchase price in a certain location of those items,
Hmm.
so that if you were forced to do that, you could use some Excel formulas and actually extract the price from each sold item for you,
Yes.
and then you could just add those all up. So
Oh,
that
awesome. Awesome.
so
Awesome.
that's one suggestion I've seen.
Uh-huh.
And when you're doing FBA, the buyers, they never see your merchant SKU number, so it's okay to have a little bit more detail in there. But
Yeah.
if you send it fulfilled by merchant, they do see that SKU number on your packing list. So be careful what you're going to do for fulfilled by merchant.
Yeah, and guys, what he's talking about, it might be, let's say I buy an item at Walmart. We would always, when we were doing a lot of retail arbitrage, we'd say Walmart underscore, and this you could do it however you want that makes sense to you. We do the store name underscore the price that we paid for it. So if it was $5, it would usually be 0500 is what we put on there. You could just do 500, anything like that. Then we'd usually put underscore and then like the name of the item or something like that. So, but you can do any that literally that MSKU could be anything you want it to be. But we always like to be able to go back really quickly and see, oh, I paid this. Because when we were doing repricing manually, it was nice to look at that MSKU really quickly and know I paid $5 for that item. But so now he's saying if you need to go back and you don't have a tool like Inventory Lab that where the cost of goods are inputted when you list your shipments, you could have an Excel file of all of your items that were sold and do a formula that would extract that 0500 out of there, put it in a different cell, and you'd be able to quickly add them all up. So you're not going through, okay, $5 calculator. Next one is $3.99. That would be a nightmare.
Or the other one's like, let me pull out my box of receipts and let me go through the paper, and then that date I purchased that August 17th of last year. No, wrong receipt, and then you would
Exactly. And then you have to even know, like, well, is that something that's still in my inventory? Did I sell that? And geez.
Yeah.
So you set this up the right way, it'll just save you a whole bunch of headache.
So that alone, to me, I know everybody's trying to reduce their overhead as much as possible.
Sure.
But there's just some things you have to have. Otherwise, it's going to result in a lot of sleepless nights around tax time trying to get everything together.
Yeah. And guys, you don't have to, like, I know some of you are listening to this and you're just like, man, I just started my business last year, 2 years ago. I don't feel like I'm in a place where I can afford a bookkeeper or even expensive software. That's cool. Use something like Excel. And in the course, you will have a link in the show notes. This is episode 79. Chris has templates on there for easy entry. If you're doing this manually on your own, and that will suffice, that'll get you what you need. And it's totally free. It just takes a little bit of your time, but we're not suggesting, hey, you need to go hire an accountant. You need to hire a bookkeeper. You need to do all this stuff. You can do, accountant would be helpful for the actual taxes. But as far as getting all these records together, you can do this yourself, but it's easier if you do it as you're going. And even if you just are like, oh man, I haven't kept any records at all, you can still use the tools that we have in that course to get you all up to speed.
Yep. And it's a lot better spending a little time each week than and making a little progress each time than getting to the end and having nothing. So
sure. Would you recommend, I know a lot of people actually do their own taxes, Chris. I know that's probably not the best because you might be missing out on a lot of things that you could be deducting because your accountant will just know. If there's a person that's like, gosh, I can't spend $500 for an accountant, but I got to get my taxes done. Is there of course it's best to use a CPA by far, but is there a software or something that you would recommend that's easy for people that just ask them questions about their business and they can answer them and get, do a decent job?
Yeah, I mean, you can always pick up software. I mean, like TurboTax has information, H&R
Mm-hmm.
Block has software. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all the big tax filing places has some software that you could use.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found with that software is they don't really take the time to ask deeper questions about your
Yeah.
business and really help you identify all the deductions and everything that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they're not going to really help you unless you pay for like the premium service, which you might as well go buy. I mean, hire a CPA for.
Right.
But they're not going to really help you with planning. Like,
Mm.
hey, when it gets down to November, let's take a look at where you are in the year. Let's look at how much money you've earned, and let's see, how we can reduce your tax burden the following year.
Right.
Now that you have 6 to 8 weeks left in the year, what big purchases can you make at the end of the year to reduce your amount of reportable income?
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, um, ever since I became a business owner, I have had a CPA do it, even if it felt tight when I was doing it the first year, and it did feel tight. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the thing was, they filed my personal, they filed my business,
Yes.
and they did such a good job that I got more money back,
Mm-hmm.
triple the amount from them that I would have had I done it myself,
So it paid
and
for
it
itself.
it
Yeah.
more than paid for itself.
Yeah, and it does, guys. So
Yeah,
just I would say, don't mess with this. Have somebody do it for you. If you have a little bit of experience, yeah, I mean, I guess that's fine, but it's probably better, way, way better to have somebody do it for you that's an expert because
yeah.
they'll get you money back that you never would be able to.
True. And one last little point on that is that your business would have this expense, right?
Yes.
You're
Right.
not paying for tax prep out of your pocket.
Right.
So that business expense will help you lower your taxes. So that's just one way to help out lowering your
Yeah, it's just
taxes.
when you're a sole proprietor or you're a single member LLC, sometimes it feels like it's the one and the same. It feels like, well, my business is me, so it
Hmm.
feels like if I'm spending $500 for a service, it feels like I'm doing it. So I can hear people background. Well, it is me doing it, paying it, but it is help. When you do it through your business, you get that deduction too.
Yep.
So,
So again, and you really have to get in the mindset that I have a business.
yes,
I
right.
do
And
have a
time is
business.
money. How much time? How much more money could you create by being outsourcing than sitting at your dining room table figuring out the taxes when you could pay somebody to do that for you?
Exactly.
So,
So cool. I think we went over cost of goods sold and
yeah, let's talk about the bookkeeping, the three stages of
several
bookkeeping.
tangents several tangents later. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but I just want to get a little bit into bookkeeping. So you're right, Ryan. We talk about it in the course, but so when you're first starting out, you have absolutely nothing. Um, I kind of call that stage one. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have something that you can run formulas with and add up values quicker than by hand. So you want to start off with some sort of Excel files,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just a running general ledger of everything that you purchased. You can
Mm-hmm.
make it real simple. Today, purchase this price. Here's the unit price. Here's where I bought it, and yes, I did file that receipt. Just something real simple.
Yeah.
And then, sorry about that.
All right.
And then, once you get past that, you're going to want to have a separate register if you're not using inventory labs or something like that of each of your individual items. And you say, okay, well, I have 4 items now in my inventory. Here's the purchase price. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
listing price. And here's the date that I sent it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get more sophisticated, you're like, well, I want to track the weight, and I want to track the dimensions, and I want to track my initial offer price, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
track the price sold, and I want to track the ROI and the gross margin per item. So those are columns that grow over time. So when you first start, you don't have to be overwhelmed by the number of columns.
Mm-hmm.
So just do what makes sense for you.
Yeah.
But then once you get to about 50 SKUs, managing 250 products, assuming you have 5 per SKU, it starts to get a little time consuming. So then you want to reach out and move on to stage 2 and find something that may not be a true accounting system, but that could help you get closer to one. So like Inventory Labs has a profit and loss section. You can go in and record everything in there. It is a manual process, which is a negative, but there is at least a process for you to type it all in yourself. And then Inventory Lab would automate the handling of your inventory items. So at least half of it would be fully automated, and the other half is still kind of manual.
Yeah.
And then finally, the last stage is to bring on some accounting software that actually connects to your banks and your credit cards.
It'd be like QuickBooks Online or something.
Yep, QuickBooks Online is the one that we use for all of our customers. And literally, while you're working, it just pulls down the transactions. And then when you're ready to do your books, you open it up and say, okay, well, here's all my purchases, and here's the amount, and that was for inventory, or that was for shipping supplies, and that was for a subscription. You know, you can go through there.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much automated at that point. And then once you get more familiar with that software, you can actually set up some rules for repeating recurring transactions that you know are the same.
If I, maybe say like I never source at Staples, but only for supplies, you can automatically make it. It sees a Staples purchase and it goes automatically to the office supplies category.
Definitely. And then even if the rule fires, you can go back and go, oh, well, this was the one time I did not buy, shipping supplies. I bought stamps. So, I want to go record that differently.
Got it.
So yeah, you can always go back and change what the rule does for you, but the rule speeds it up immensely. So the importance there is that you use a system that you understand inside and out. So if you don't understand accounting software, it's not good for you to use that accounting software by yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the ins and outs of Inventory Lab, get some help understanding Inventory Lab. They do have some tech support that's pretty good between 8 and 5, and they'll really take the time to make sure you understand things. And then again, if you're scared of using Excel, that's fine. Please take the time to learn it. But you could even start off with a old school Mr. Scrooge paper journal if you want, and just handwrite everything. It's worked for decades, so it could work for you too. But you wouldn't be able to read my writing, so Excel's the way to go for me.
Right, me too. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, you just have to understand that's the most important thing. And the same thing with Inventory Lab. There's a lot of people asking lots of questions about, well, is it sellable or not sellable when it's a return? How are my refunds calculated? Inventory Lab says I had 6 sales, but I only sent in 4 items. Why does it show I have 6 sales? There are things in Inventory Lab that you have to understand from a process perspective to make sure your numbers come out correctly. Inventory Lab does a great job rolling that up to you for you in their profit and loss, but you still have to understand the process. So that's the number one thing. Get help. There's lots of YouTube. There's these companies have tech support. Use their tech support. If there's features in there you don't see that you need, then put in a feature request, and maybe other people have already had that too, and maybe your item could get slated for development. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, and if you guys decide to jump into that course that we have, I mean, it's only $97. There's actually a Facebook group associated with it, and Chris is in there and answers questions. And you could always book him for a. In fact, how we do that? I know there's people right now that probably like, I just need to talk to Chris. So
on our website we have www.lwtservices.com, and there's a way through the website to book a consultation. And consultations usually are free for the hour to learn about your business and answer your questions. But if you need me to do some work and stuff like that, that would lead to something else later. But the consultations are generally free. I'm in that Facebook all the time, both in Legends and Know Your Numbers and several other groups. And then you could always private message me through Facebook Messenger and stuff like that too.
Nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's awesome.
So, and I do try to respond as quickly as possible, but please understand right now it is end of year.
This is your busy time.
This is the busy time.
On top of also being an e-commerce seller.
That's true.
You've got your own business.
I do.
That's what I love about this, guys, is, he's selling goods on Amazon, so he knows it. And that's another thing is if he does a great job, and you can certainly go with him. But if you already have an accountant, you already have a bookkeeper, um, it's nice to have somebody that understands e-commerce, because that's kind of a different animal. And so if you don't have somebody yet, go with somebody like Chris, who knows the ins and outs of an e-commerce business, because another CPA could do it for you, but they may have to learn some things before they could do your books correctly.
That's true. There's a lot of fees and expenses that are unique to e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to say that I am not a CPA, but I am partnered with a CPA firm. So I work really well with that firm. It's the e-commerce accounting with Cindy Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And we collaborate on a lot of projects together. And
Awesome.
I really trust her CPA work. So
Love it. So we're going to talk about reconciling.
Yeah. So reconciling is a big word to those not used to hearing it, but really, when it comes down to it, it's called the match game. You learn the match game when you're in elementary school, even
Yes.
probably before you got to kindergarten, because your parents are like, "What can I do?" Well, they can match Big Bird to Big Bird. So yeah, reconciling just means matching. So you want to match all of your records from your bank statements, the physical PDF bank statements, or I guess PDF is electronic, but the actual document to your accounting system. And you want to go line by line, and you want to have everything that shows up on the bank statement is in your accounting system, whether it's Excel or Inventory Labs or QuickBooks.
You need to do this if you use QuickBooks Online, and it automatically pulls everything.
You do, because software is software. So your bank could have a hiccup and not send all the transactions. QuickBooks could have a hiccup and import your transactions twice. Or if you're in QuickBooks doing some stuff, you might accidentally do something and add a transaction when you didn't mean to. Yeah. So it's critical that if you have an accounting system that you're using to go line by line with your bank statement versus your whatever you're doing for your records.
Is that something a bookkeeper does for you, or is that something you as the client should go in and check?
It's 100% can be whatever you decide, but when we handle books for clients, we always do that. Okay. We're always reaching out saying, "Hey, I need this month's bank statements," so that we can do that and effectively, officially close your books for the previous month. Because the last thing that we want to do is close your books and then realize that 15 items were missing, and our official proof is your bank statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Because software is great, but it does have hiccups from time to time.
Yeah.
I do want to say that if you're using PayPal, that has hiccups every single month. So you will have to be very close paying attention to everything that PayPal sends over to QuickBooks. It's just the communication between those two systems is not very good.
Okay. Good to know.
And I know with eBay going to manage payments, there's a lot less reliance on PayPal these days than previously. So, in my mind, that's kind of a good thing. I love using PayPal. Don't get me wrong. It does an additional layer of protection for my credit cards, but it doesn't talk nicely with QuickBooks. So, and then there's some local credit unions that don't do anything except for give you a paper statement.
Yeah.
So credit unions are wonderful. We have our funds at a local credit union that's only in San Antonio. But again, you have to look at what features your credit unions have to make sure it's going to work for your business.
Okay.
So, but yeah, reconciling 100% vital. It's the only way to officially close your books for the year and for the month. So the other part of it is it will keep you from skipping expenses because we're all human and we're all extremely busy. So last night you might have gone to 6 stores, and then when you're typing it in an Inventory Lab today, you might only put in 5 because you don't remember the 6th stop.
Right.
So it's very important there as well to go line by line and make sure you get everything that you spent, and that lowers your taxes and really gives you a true idea of your business.
Yeah. Cool. I know a lot of people, we talk about having a separate accounts. That's important, right? Having a dedicated business account, not running things, because people, you might get started and you run things through your your personal account to get started.
Hmm.
But as quickly as possible, you want to switch those up, don't you?
100%. So you want to avoid the spaghetti complex. So the spaghetti complex is when you're looking at 300 transactions for a particular account, and some are business and some are
Mm,
personal,
right.
and you might buy business and personal at the same store even,
Yeah.
and it's not easy for anybody, yourself included, to untangle that spaghetti. I mean, it takes you 3 or 4 times as long.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so the best thing to do is definitely get at least one account when
Hmm.
you're getting started and say, okay, I have this spare personal checking account that my mom set up for me when I was 3,
Hmm.
and I've never really used it for anything. Well, use that one
And it does. That's a
for
good point. It doesn't have to be a quote business checking account, correct? It just needs to be a separate one.
right when you're getting started and you don't have an official business formed. You're still doing sole proprietor.
Hmm.
Just have one separate account. It can be
Yep.
whatever account. Just have it be separate.
And that's good because a lot of times business accounts at some banks might charge a monthly fee, whereas you might be able to easier to get a free account if it's just a what they call a personal one. But
Yep.
you're just saying it just needs to be separate. So that's good.
Right.
Because I'm always
Yeah.
about I love helping new people get started. And if people are saying, man, I got this fee and this fee and this fee and this fee, like holy cow. I'm just trying this thing out. I'm just getting started. And so trying to avoid that as much as possible, showing people the free way to get started,
Hmm.
but then quickly realize you have a business. If you're making money, you got a business now, and so let's start thinking like a business owner, and but try to keep the expenses low at the same time.
Right. And that's another reason I love credit unions. There's
Mhm.
very easy to go to a credit union, and you can find a credit union that are not going to charge you the bank fees. They're just set up different. They're there to
Mhm.
serve the members. They're owned by the members. So obviously the members like, I'm a member here. I don't want to pay that fee. Let's not charge that fee, you know. So credit unions, you can actually build relationships with the credit union employees, and you can
Yes.
call them up and actually talk to somebody and get the same person every single time.
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with our banking rep. Her name is Stella, and she's on the commercial banking side. And
Hmm.
I call her up every once in a while and say, "Hey, Stella, how's it going?" They're like, "Chris, how you doing?" I mean, it's not even a last name basis; it's like a
That's
first name
awesome.
basis.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Build those relationships because when your business grows, you may need a line of credit,
yep,
and you're going to go to Stella because you know her and
exactly.
you got a relationship. She knows your business. She knows you. So that's cool.
Yeah, she's like, I see you're filling our coffers. I'm like, well, I'm trying because it's in your bank, it's in your credit union, but it's still mine.
Right.
So
That's absolutely right. Oh my gosh. I know. So a lot of being tax times coming up, you were talking about sleeping good at night. Let's get into what people can do to make sure that they're not, just worrying about this stuff because it doesn't have to be something that you worry about. I mean, if you hold it all to the last minute, you may be, spending extra time doing it when you could have done it throughout the year. But just what are some good practices to keep people, to sleep soundly about their business numbers?
cool. It's a great question. So on that one, you definitely want to review your numbers on a monthly basis. So
Hmm.
I do have a story. It's
Yeah.
just a short story. So I was helping a client recently,
Uh-huh.
and we like to do reviews for our clients every month or as requested. And I sign into this review, and him and his wife's there, and I've never met his wife.
Hmm.
And turns out they're a husband-wife team that do Amazon,
Hmm.
and he does a lot of the buying, sourcing, stuff like that, and she loves to do the prep because
Okay.
it's kind of artsy craftsy. That's what she
Yeah.
likes to do,
Yeah.
and they make a great team. But she looked me straight in the face and said, "Chris, is this business worth it?"
Mm.
And I said, "Well, that is a great question. Let's
Wow.
let's let's talk about it." So we went over the entire numbers and said, "Well, here's the revenue, here's the profit, here's how much you paid yourself, here's how much you could have paid yourself." We went through all of that type of thing. And
Hmm.
she's like, "That's great, but we need more income."
Hmm.
And I said, "Okay, well, how much income do you need?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. We just need more. We're semi-retired and we need to pay our bills, and
Yeah.
occasionally we'd like to, do something special." And I said, "Okay, give me a number. Maybe we can come up on this call, do a business plan for you.
Mm.
And would that make you feel better? Like you have a game plan to follow for the next 6 to 12 months to get you where you need
Yes.
to be." And she's like, "I think that would work." So then we had a quick discussion. Um, we through the course, the very last course on Know Your Numbers has a worksheet in there
Yes.
for planning out your business, and I'm always tweaking that one. To make it more relevant and more meaningful. And I always post the newest one in the Know Your Numbers Facebook. But um, we went through that, and I was like, okay, we're going to tailor this 100% for your business. So let's pull up your profit and loss. Let's pull up your balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, tell me all your monthly expenses. So we went through, we listed them all out and said, okay, well, this month, I know we pay this much for inventory lab. I know we pay this much for a repricer. I know we pay this much for Keepa. I know we pay this
Mm-hmm.
much for a bookkeeper. I know we pay this much for a prep center. I know we pay this much for shipping supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a set amount every month. So we listed all those out and said, okay, well, your expenses that you're coming up with, you're really going to be looking at something like $1,000 a month for expenses at the level they're doing it. Now realize for the newer sellers, you're not going to have $1,000 expenses, but this is just where they were. And then they go, okay, we want to bring home $4,000 every month. I said, okay, totally doable. Let's put that in there. And I said, okay, well, how much profit do you want to make on the business on top of that? And they gave me a number. They're like, okay, well, every month we want to make like $400 profit. I said, cool, let's plug that in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, based on all those numbers, you're probably going to want to set aside 15% of your profit after inventory. We call that real revenue or gross margin. You want to set aside 15% of that in a tax savings account. So when it's time to pay your taxes, then there you go. The money's already sitting there. You're not like, how do I pay my tax money?
Yes.
I mean, like literally, you never have to worry about paying taxes.
Yeah.
Because the money's already there. So then that came out to a number. Let's call that $6,000. Like, okay, well, we need to make $6,000 real revenue, gross margin every month. Now, how do we get there? So then we started digging into their numbers and says, okay, well, your gross margin for the year is 20%. Your average seller fees is 40%. Your average selling price is $25. To get where you need to be, you need to sell about 1,200 items at that price. So then we broke it all the way down and said, okay, well, what do I need to spend on inventory every single month? So it's okay, well, based on your return on investment, based on your average turn rate, all the stuff we talk about in a course, you're going to want to invest $13,000 every month in inventory.
Yeah.
And you need to buy your inventory at $11 or less if you're going to be selling it at $25.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. So we have a game plan. I said, yes, you need to go get 1,200 items sourced and up available for sale and maintain all your metrics. And then if you do that, then you will absolutely make $4,000 that you can bring home every single month.
Yes, I love that.
And I said, how does that make you feel? Everybody's like, well, we just got to do it.
Yeah.
There was no more like feelings about trepidations or fears or is it worth it? It's here's the game plan. This is where we need to get to. So they're like, okay, thanks for the call. Talk to you next month. So
that's huge. That's exactly, Chris, why and you know this is why the whole Know Your Numbers course came to be. You had an idea like this, and I had been talking to people, and they're like, I don't even know if I'm profitable. And they would tell me, Ryan, I want to quit my job, but I don't even know how to get there. I know what number I need, but I don't know what I need to do in my business to get to that number. And that worksheet in that course, in my opinion, the course is amazing, but that one worksheet right there is worth the whole expense because it gives people that game plan. I know that in order to hit my goals, I need to sell this much. I need to invest this much. And it boils it down to, because sometimes if you do this business, it's like, I need to make this amount, but that just seems like a big number. You don't know how to necessarily break that down. Of course, you can take your yearly goal and divide it by 12, and that's my monthly, but you may not know, what do I need to do today to work towards that? And you've got it down to where I need to go out and buy this much inventory. That's doable. Everybody knows, okay, I need to spend $500 this week. That's a doable thing. That's something I can control. I feels like that's in my control to go out and spend $500 on inventory. But to go out and profit $5,000 this month, seems like that's not controllable. It is, but it doesn't feel like it. But to say, I need to go out right now, today, or this week and spend $500, that I can do that.
Yep.
So I love it.
And the important thing is, the reason it's the last item in the course is because we spend the whole course telling you how to come up with all the other numbers you need. So we show you where to get your average selling price. We show you how to calculate your ROI. We show you where to find your average turn rate and what that really means. So it really lays the foundations for getting to this planning worksheet.
Yes, I love it. Cool. So you were mentioning that you want to do a generous offer. Talk about if people buy the course, they get your consultation with you.
Right.
Above and beyond the free one that you always offer.
Right. No, this one's a detailed look into your business. It's basically doing this entire calculation that we went through. Mm-hmm. So I generally charge $150 to do the business planning for folks. Mm-hmm. But if you decide to purchase the course, then we can go to my website and sign up, and you'll get $100 coupon. So it would only cost you $50 to actually do that. So obviously the idea is you take the course, so you learn about the numbers. So when we meet, I can say, okay, well, what is your gross margin? What is your average seller fees paid percentage? And you'll have that. But even if you don't go through the course, then we can work through it. So,
totally.
But that's what I'm able to do right now. Again, I'm not here to make all the money in the world. I really want to continue helping people learn and grow and growing their business. And, we're all stronger if every business succeeds. There's lots of opportunities to partner up later on down the road. So. Mm-hmm.
I love it. So guys, this will just go to streamsofincomeradio.com. This will be episode 79, and you can go there and find the link to take advantage of that offer. So and grab the Know Your Numbers course, guys. It's that again, that worksheet alone is worth the investment. It's only $97, and plus you get access to a Facebook group that we have, and then you can ask questions to Chris anytime in that group. You can sign up for a free call with him. But if you want to deep dive into your business, you get that discount as well. So, Chris, anything else you want to tell people before we wrap this up?
No, I guess the important thing is that's heavy on my heart these days is persistence, right? You just need to persist and keep moving a little bit forward every single day. And if there's things that are roadblocks, there is help out there. You just have to ask for people to help. And maybe they're struggling with something you're an expert at. So say, hey, I can help you with that. Can you help me with this? And then just small steps forward, and eventually we'll all get there. So.
I love it. Yeah, my last episode was a guy named Neil Stevens, my friend that lives in the UK, and he credits his success to what he calls, it's the Lord, but then he said stubborn persistence. He just kept moving forward. He just kept going, and he bear his head down, and when the wind was coming at him, he just look down and just charge forward. Sometimes the wind's at your back and you feel like everything's going wonderful and no issues, but stubborn persistence. So I love that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing this course, and it's going to help a lot of people. And guys, just again, go to streamsofincomeradio.com and you can take advantage of that. Episode 79.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
You're welcome, buddy.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.